Welcome to The Art of Plenty. I am so glad that you are here today, whether you're tuning in on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I'm very excited to share the things that I have been thinking about lately, which is what does the way that our family does Christmas, what is this actually teaching my kids? And do I have intention around that? Now, this time, more than other times of the year, I definitely feel tired and I've got a lot going on. And I feel like I'm kind of just humming, meaning that I'm kind of vibrating with all of the things that I need to do to just be present for my family and making sure that I've got everything organized before I go on holidays. So consequently, this episode may be a little bit shorter because I'm racing. And when I'm racing, it's difficult for me to really collect my thoughts and settle. So what I've decided is I'm giving myself permission today to have a bit of a shorter episode. So if you're tuning in and you're thinking to yourself, Amy, this is not a long episode, that is why. I'm trying to honor the time that you are investing in listening and also honor the time that I have and try to really settle into the things that I'm always preaching, which is to honor yourself and to be present and be intentional. Okay. I remember this situation when I was 12 years old. I think I was 12. And I was hanging out with my best friend at the time. Shout out to you, Catherine, if you are tuning in. And we were babysitting her little sister who was maybe 2 years old, maybe 3. And we had taken her sister to the park. And one of us, I do not know who, said the F word. And consequently, her little sister just kept repeating the F word. And we were giggling uncontrollably because it was hysterical. And we were also completely dumbfounded and shocked that she picked the word up that quickly. We must have only said it once. Whoever said it once. And she just said it on repeat. I mean, she was probably delighted because we were laughing so hard and she had found a way to get us to laugh. So she just kept repeating it. But we were so concerned about what was going to happen when this 2-year-old, 3-year-old got home in front of her mom and started using this word. She must have not been 3. It must have been 2 because she didn't have a lot of words at that time. Whether or not we intend to teach our kids things, our kids are learning things from us all the time. And that situation with Catherine's little sister was the first time that I realized how much little kids are actually picking up on the environment around them. So this got me thinking about Christmas. And it got me thinking about the messages and the things that I'm teaching my kids about Christmas by the way that I am doing Christmas. Now, I have a lot of happy Christmas memories. And one of the reasons why those memories are so accessible to me is because our family repeated different things, or we repeated the same things year after year that we did. We had a lot of traditions. So when you have traditions and you do those same things over and over again, it gets logged into your brain in a different way. So it's really easy to remember those things because every year you have a new memory, which solidifies the old memory of doing it the previous year. So I have a lot of Christmas memories that I have that I feel like are pretty accessible compared to other memories that I have from my childhood. And many of those memories that I pull out of my mind about Christmas are things that I feel really good about. I feel close to my family. I feel warm. I remember the excitement. I remember the delight. I don't necessarily remember the things that were perhaps difficult for my family because those things did not stand out to me. And it could be that my parents kept me away from that, but I didn't realize until later on in my life how other people in my family were experiencing Christmas. My mom in particular. We spent most Christmases with my dad's extended family because we lived in a town where my dad's extended family was from, whereas my mom's family was not from the area. So we didn't necessarily see their family over the holidays. So we had a lot of traditions that were connected to my dad's extended family and my extended family, which I absolutely loved. I'm very close with a lot of my cousins, and I was very close with my paternal grandmother, which if you've listened to that episode I did a few months back around grief and losing my grandmother. We'll take that in the show notes for you if you want to go back to listen to that. So for me, I was under the impression that Christmas by my family was experienced the same by everyone and didn't necessarily pick up on what my mother's experience was with Christmas. Not saying that she didn't have a wonderful time. I'm by no means suggesting that. I just did not realize that everybody was experiencing it different, and that realization came to me as an adult. So I'm been thinking about both of these things. The idea that our kids are picking up on the messages that we are teaching them, whether we intend them to or not, and also that there's still a bit of cluelessness that we have as kids, and therefore there's some things that I can kind of hide within our family dynamics if I don't want my kids to necessarily see that. So I've been going back and forth between those two, that what am I doing and how is that being translated to my kids and how much of it are they picking up? And basically, it comes down to this idea of what is it that I want my kids to learn about Christmas? What do I want them to know and to think? Because even being a mother and being a woman and now having a greater understanding of what Christmas was like for my mom, it shifts now how I want to experience Christmas as a mom and what I want my kids to be thinking and doing over Christmas. I've kind of separated it into a couple different areas that I've been thinking about. And these are the things that are probably the most important to me in terms of Christmas. But the other thing that these are a little bit tricky, or one of the reasons why these things are a little bit tricky, is because I'm not just creating Christmas from my perspective. Creating Christmas at our house is a family event. And what that means is that I'm balancing the things that my husband wants to bring into Christmas and the things that matter to him. Because not to say that everything that we like about Christmas is different. There are definitely things that we hold dear that we both share. Those are the pieces around gift giving and connection and it being a family time. But there are other pieces that are definitely coming down that are more the way his family did things. For example, his family was all about the magic of Christmas. And when I say the magic of Christmas, I'm talking about that incensed or that increased sense of excitement and where everything is just magical and wonderful. And Jody's mom went to great lengths to create that incredible Christmas atmosphere and really went overboard on everything. And I don't mean overboard in a negative way. I mean overboard in a magical, delightful way, which isn't something that happened at my house. And so that is one of those areas that has created tension in the past. But it's also one of those areas that as a partner, I really try to honor that this is something that really matters to him. And therefore, I want to be able to show up and create that sense of magic because that matters so much to him. And that was so much a part of his family tradition. So these are the things I'm thinking about. How do I create and teach my kids things about Christmas that are important to me, that are coming down from my family, while still honoring the things that are coming down from my husband's family, and still being intentional, recognizing that there are things that they will pick up that I don't necessarily intend for them to learn. And how do I balance the negativity that can come from that? For example, I don't want them saying the F word, right? Like that was something that I taught that little girl. I don't want to have things that they are unintentionally learning. So the things that I've been thinking about, here we go. Gift giving, stress, and the third one is, what are the roots of Christmas? So those are kind of the three things that I'm trying to intentionally teach my kids about Christmas. So the piece about stress is I don't want my kids to see Christmas as a time of stress or frantic or fighting or kind of that edginess piece. I don't want them, when they think about Christmas, to see that side of things, that mom is frustrated or mom gets tired easily or the house is just a little bit more keyed up or stressful. And I think that those are things that I've probably done in the past where I have been more stressed or anxious about how Christmas is going to unfold and therefore have been edgier and irritated. And that's not a message that I want them to associate with Christmas. And I don't know if you have an emotional barometer in your house, those kids that kind of pick up on the emotions of their parents and respond to those emotions of their parents. But I have this value that Christmas should be fun for everyone. And therefore, if I am feeling a little bit more stressed or worked up, I want to kind of bring that up to the kids and look for ways to get help with that. So not help with my stress, because that's my thing that I need to work with. But if there's something that I need help with in order that we can all get to the concert on time or experience greater joy or work together so that we can go out and do different activities, then I want to ask them to help with those things that help us get out the door. So maybe they do more chores over the Christmas holidays than they normally would because, quite frankly, there's more chores, there's more stuff to do for our family to operate. And I want them to know that creating Christmas for the family means that the whole family is responsible for creating that sense of Christmas. And the things that are important to us, we all have to work together in order for those things to happen. So that's the message that I really want my kids to take home about Christmas concerning stress. Now, when it comes to gift giving, here's what I want my kids to know. And this is something that I'm actually really struggling with this year, which is don't give gifts just for the sake of giving a gift. And I'm struggling with that because I've got a couple people on my shopping list that I've just been struggling to figure out what to get them. And then I feel pressure that I need to get them something, even if I don't really feel like it, which is coming from this need of just wanting things to be more simple this year. So one of the messages that I want my kids to learn and take home about Christmas is why we give gifts and that the thought really matters and that it feels better to give than it does to receive. And that feeling of that you get when you give a gift, it comes when the gift is well received, but it also comes when you put a lot of thought into that gift, when you think about what that person means to you, or you think about something that they would really appreciate. When those things happen, that opportunity to feel really good about giving a gift is increased. The other piece that I want my kids to know is that there are a lot of different types of gifts. They're not all material and they're not all tangible. So I've been thinking about how to teach my kids these lessons around gift giving while I'm also navigating these emotions that I'm having about not necessarily wanting to buy certain people a gift that are on my list. So here's how I've been managing that piece, because I don't know about you. I don't know if you're like me and you feel the pressure just to give because you've always given a gift, or the pressure because you know they're going to give you something, or you know they're buying for your kids, so you have to buy for their kids, or whatever that feeling is that's creating that pressure to give. Here's how I'm dealing with it. I'm putting my own thoughts aside about it and my own emotions about it aside. And I'm bringing to mind those people that I don't feel like buying gifts for this year. And I'm thinking about them and what they mean to me. And I'm kind of holding that image in my mind. And when I think about their faces, and when I think about who they are, and when I think about the gifts that I've bought them in the past that have really meant something, I'm holding on to that while I'm thinking about, okay, maybe my gift giving needs to look different this year. Maybe things have changed and I don't need to do the same thing that I've always done before. But is there something that I could do that would showcase to them what they mean to me or what they mean to my family? And as I've been going through the process of doing that, the idea of getting them a gift feels better because it doesn't feel as meaningless or as pointless as, well, of course I'm buying them something because I always buy them something. I'm shaking off that responsibility and that pressure and just really thinking back to why I do it in anyways, why I ever bought them a gift to begin with, and remembering who they are to me and to my family. And that is really helping to alleviate some of that pressure. And that's how I want my kids to think about the gifts they give. I want them not to feel pressure just to give something because it's Christmas or because they have a relationship with someone, but I want them to choose gifts because they love that person and they are using the gift as a way to show their love and show their affection. So those are the messages around gift giving that I want to receive, them to receive from me and from them to pick up from me. The other piece that I've been thinking about is I want my kids to have an understanding of the roots of this holiday. For myself, that was always a part of our Christmas memories, was connecting to the Christian spiritual roots of this holiday. And when I was really little, we used to go to Mass with my grandmother. We did that less when I was an older kid and a teenager. But there was always a component that my dad did and my mom did that helped us to connect to the spiritual roots of the holiday. And it didn't mean that we didn't do all of the other things connected with a Western Christmas. It just meant that that was a really big piece of the holiday for our family. And that is something that I want to share with my children and I want them to consider when they think about Christmas. I want them to have a connection to the spiritual roots of the holiday. And part of my reasoning for doing that is because, and this is probably connected to the gift-giving pieces, I don't want it to just be materialistic. I want it to have significance from a spiritual perspective and from a place of being able to honor and value the things that we have in our life and the gifts that we receive. Because for me, Christmas very much is about being able to give and receive love. So those are the things that I've been thinking about what is it that Christmas is teaching my kids, and even if it's not explicit, are the lessons that they're learning from me in the way that I do Christmas the lessons that I actually want them to learn? Because I feel strongly that Christmas is one of those things that they'll take with them through their life. And I want them to be able to really hold on to the things that are important to me about Christmas, because I think it'll help to shape their future Christmases when they too are adults. That's all I got. That's it for today. It's a shorter episode because, as I said at the beginning, I'm kind of humming. There's a lot going down these weeks leading up to Christmas. I'm so thankful that you carved out time to tune in today. And I wish you a very beautiful, meaningful Christmas with your family. And I'm so thankful that you are here tuning in and showing up week after week with me. It is truly an honor to be invited into your space and share my heart. This is The Art of Plenty. And my name is Amy McKenna.